power, when it operates without accountability, doesn't protect people. It controls them. And when control goes unchecked, it doesn't just influence decisions, it reshapes reality itself, quietly, systematically, almost invisibly, until one day, it stops hiding. And when it stops hiding, everything changes. What you're about to witness is not just another political moment. This isn't just a conversation or a routine exchange of questions and answers. This is something far more rare, a moment where control slipped, where pressure built, where truth entered a room that wasn't ready for it. And once it entered, there was no way to take it back. Because inside one of the most powerful rooms in the world, something unexpected unfolded. Something no one had prepared for. Something that shifted the entire dynamic in a matter of seconds. At first, everything looked normal, calm, structured, predictable. The kind of environment where nothing truly surprising is supposed to happen. Officials seated in perfect alignment, microphones positioned precisely, papers arranged in neat, controlled stacks, cameras observing quietly, capturing every detail without interfering. It was just another day, just another session, just another routine exchange, or at least, that's what everyone believed. But the truth is, the most powerful moments don't announce themselves. They don't arrive with warning. They don't give you time to prepare. They simply happen. And when they do, they leave a mark that cannot be erased. Because on this day, something felt different, not obvious, not dramatic, just subtle. A shift in energy, a pause that lasted slightly longer than expected, a glance that carried more meaning than usual. And then, she walked in. No noise, no announcement, no attempt to draw attention. But attention followed anyway, because presence like that doesn't need to demand focus. It naturally commands it. Step by step, she moved forward, calm, composed, completely in control. There was no hesitation in her movement, no uncertainty in her posture, just quiet confidence. And sometimes, quiet confidence is the loudest signal in the room. At first, nothing changed. The structure remained intact. The process continued. A question was asked, clear, direct, carefully framed, the kind of question designed to maintain order, not disrupt it. And the response came quickly, measured, controlled, professional, exactly what everyone expected. But underneath that surface, something else was building, because this wasn't just an exchange, it was a setup, a carefully constructed path, leading toward a moment no one in that room could fully anticipate. As the conversation continued, the tone began to shift, not dramatically, not all at once, but gradually. Words became sharper, pauses became longer, and the silence between sentences began to carry weight. Because silence is never empty. It's filled with meaning, with tension, with everything that isn't being said. And in this moment, silence was growing stronger. Then came the turning point, the moment everything changed. Without raising her voice, without breaking composure, she reached forward and introduced something into the conversation that shattered the illusion of control. Evidence. Not speculation, not opinion, not interpretation. Evidence. Real, documented, unavoidable. And in that exact second, the room transformed, the air shifted, the energy changed, the confidence that once filled the space began to weaken. Because when truth appears in a place built on control, it doesn't need permission. It doesn't wait for approval. It simply exists, and its existence alone is enough to disrupt everything. No one spoke, no one moved. Because sometimes, the most powerful reaction is silence. A silence so heavy, it says everything words cannot. Eyes locked across the room, expressions changed, postures shifted. Because in environments like this, every detail matters. Every reaction reveals something deeper. And what was being revealed in this moment could not be ignored. This wasn't discomfort. This wasn't surprise. This was pressure. The kind of pressure that builds when truth gets too close, too clear, too undeniable. And suddenly, the dynamic had shifted, completely. The one asking the questions now controlled the room, and the one who once seemed untouchable was now being observed, closely, carefully, critically. Because when evidence enters the conversation, everything changes. There are no more distractions, no more diversions, no more safe exits. Only reality. And reality demands answers. As the moment continued to unfold, something deeper began to surface. Something beyond individuals, beyond positions, beyond titles. This wasn't just about one exchange. This was about the system itself, a system designed to maintain authority, now being challenged by truth. And in that challenge, a realization began to take shape, quietly at first, but growing stronger with every passing second. That power, no matter how strong it appears, is never absolute. That authority, no matter how protected it seems, is never beyond question. And that truth, no matter how deeply buried it is, has a way of rising, slowly, relentlessly, inevitably. Because truth does not disappear. It waits, it adapts, it survives, until the moment comes when it can no longer be contained. And when that moment arrives, it doesn't ask for permission. It takes its place. And once it does, there is no going back. What followed wasn't chaos. It wasn't shouting. It wasn't disorder. It was something far more powerful. Realization. The kind of realization that spreads quietly, from one person to another, from one thought to the next. Because once you begin to see, you cannot unsee. Once you begin to question, you cannot stop questioning. And in this moment, questions were everywhere. Not all spoken, but all understood. Because the silence in that room was no longer empty. It was filled with awareness, with reflection, with the beginning of change. And change always starts with awareness. This moment didn't end when the conversation stopped. It didn't remain within those walls. It moved beyond them, into discussions, into debates, into the minds of people watching closely. Because moments like this don't disappear. They echo. They repeat. They grow stronger over time, and they leave behind something that cannot be ignored. Impact, a lasting reminder that power is not permanent, that control is not guaranteed, and that truth is never truly silent. No matter how deeply it is hidden, no matter how carefully it is avoided, no matter how long it is ignored, truth finds a way. It always does. But here's where things become even more important. Because this moment was not the end, it was the beginning. The beginning of a larger question, a deeper reflection, a challenge that extends far beyond a single room. Because when a system is questioned, it faces a choice: to evolve or to resist. And history has shown us that resistance may slow truth down, but it never stops it. Eventually, truth breaks through, stronger, clearer, impossible to deny. And when it does, everything changes. But the real question is not what happened in that room. The real question is, what happens next? Because moments like these don't just define the present. They shape the future. They influence decisions. They shift perspectives. They create ripple effects that extend far beyond what we can immediately see. And those ripple effects are where real change begins. You've just witnessed more than a moment. You've witnessed a shift in power, a shift in awareness, a shift in understanding. And shifts like these don't happen often. But when they do, they matter. They remind us that questioning authority is not a threat, it's a necessity. That seeking truth is not disruption, it's responsibility. And that awareness is the first step toward change. Because without awareness, nothing changes. Without questions, nothing evolves. Without truth, nothing improves. And that's why moments like this are so powerful. Not because of what was said, but because of what was revealed. Because sometimes the biggest truths are not spoken, they are shown. And once they are seen, they cannot be ignored. This is why we do what we do. We don't just follow stories. We go deeper. We analyze. We question. We uncover what lies beneath the surface. Because the real story is never just what you see, it's what's hidden behind it. You're watching The Insight Talk, where power is questioned, truth is explored, and perspectives are challenged. If you want more content that keeps you thinking, that challenges what you believe, and that reveals what others don't show, make sure to subscribe. Because the next story might be even bigger, and the next truth might be impossible to ignore.